Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the All Systems Go podcast. I am your host, Chris L. Davis, the founder of Automation Bridge. And, I've been running this podcast for a while, everybody. I've heard a lot of terms. I've created a lot of terms. You all always tell me I'm creating words. And today I'm excited to present you all with a term that I did not create and I hadn't heard of. And it's coming from a trusted resource, which is even better. So on today's podcast, we're going to talk about funnel stacking. All right. We're going to break down what it is and how to use it. And our guest to do so is digital marketing expert, CEO, speaker, and author specializing in helping online entrepreneurs grow and scale their business online through profitable sales and Facebook ads is Ryan McCrary. After working in the corporate finance industry, he discovered his passion for helping people create true generational wealth. Generational wealth. One more time, everybody. Generational wealth that didn't require them to sell their soul to draining careers. His strategies are rooted in designing a life that doesn't require the constant grind, with over 500K in ad spend managed to generate over 450 million in revenue. He's helped clients maximize their income and impact while creating true freedom-based lifestyles. He is somebody that I've had the pleasure of knowing and meeting in person. Our circles cross very frequently in conferences and out. So I'm finally glad to have you on the podcast. Ryan, welcome to the podcast, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. I'm blessed to be here. I'm definitely looking forward
Yes.
to this conversation.
Yes. And I let me just prime everybody to understand who's in the room. So we have a mutual friend in Lamar Tyler, and both of us have both learned and assisted in the growth of his company in some capacity, whether it's helping other people in his business, whether it's just being a sounding board or updating like, hey, bro, this is what's happening in the industry right now. This is crazy, right?
Right.
So there's a few of us that really come together and bring our minds together. So you're getting a little bit of insight into my network. Okay, so I love to preface it with that so that you all can put your guard down. I didn't pick Ryan up off the street, just somebody that looked like they knew what they were talking about. Like, hey, what's your name? Come on the podcast. This brother has been in the space. In fact, Ryan, you weren't always the funnel doctor. You weren't always in the digital marketing. What was life before funnels?
That's a great question. So my corporate background is actually in finance.
Mm,
So I worked in finance for many years. I had my securities licenses, my Series 7, Series 63 licenses. And after working in corporate for a few years, honestly, I just was not happy with my job.
mm,
I did not want to go up the corporate ladder. I did not want to play corporate politics. So I had this crazy idea to become an entrepreneur. So I dove headfirst into that, was very naive. I didn't know anything about business. I don't come from an entrepreneur family, and
yep.
as entrepreneurs, we know like we go through certain challenges that we can't always share with everyone. Whether it's our family members, whether it's our spouse, whether it's our
Man.
siblings, cousins, like whatever it is, we go through certain challenges. So I dove head first, and my first business was actually in finance.
Mm,
So I wrote a book. I did the free plus shipping thing. I had a bunch of courses. I had coaching and stuff like that. And when it was all based around like financial literacy,
mm,
wealth building, really trying to teach people a lot of stuff that I learned in corporate that I seen, the average day to day person wasn't familiar with. So that was my first business. Like I said, just doing stuff around finance, information products. But I had to
mm.
really learn how to make money because I didn't have my job anymore. I wasn't backed by my corporate salary. So I was like, I really got to figure out how to make money. And that's how I got into digital marketing.
Mm,
And then, fast forward, became the funnel doctor. We'll talk about, specifically more about that. But it really came out of the need for myself to
mm.
actually have consistent, sustainable revenue as an entrepreneur, which was very, very challenging in the beginning.
Yeah, and you said something because my journey mirrors that, right? Like
Mm,
you did a thing, and you learned how to do it, but it's like, okay, how do I make money though? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like how and
Really hard.
and it's a weird dynamic because it becomes progress without profit. And
Yeah.
usually you don't hear that. Usually it's like, well, you need to make progress and then you make profit. But
Right.
you
Right.
could
Right.
also make progress and not profit. And for me, I was learn I could do stuff really well in terms of like web development and some email marketing stuff, but I hadn't quite unlocked the code where it was like, okay, pushing this button generates this,
Right.
right? And it's
Right.
important, man. It's important for people to not settle for progress if
Yeah.
profit is not a byproduct of it
Mm,
or the main North Star driver. Because what
yes.
are we measuring progress by? So, anyway, that just stood out to me. So now you've got the funnel doctor. I know of people that you've worked with personally. You've got testimonials. You've been in the space. How long have you been doing digital marketing now, Ryan?
About 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, four
Mm-hmm.
years. And like I said, when I was still doing finance stuff, I was learning digital marketing. I was understanding funnels and landing
Yep.
pages and copy and ads and like all this stuff. Because like for me, like I said, it was a necessity. Like I had to do that to make money. And of course, in business, if you're not really generating revenue online, it's an uphill battle. So I knew like that was non-negotiable. And then from there, I got good at it. So I started getting a knack for it. I was interested in it. It was something that I liked. It's something that I became passionate about. And then I started indirectly helping other people. So, first got the result
Yeah.
for myself. And then it was like, well, can I work with someone else and get the result for them? So, as we know, since we go to different conferences and meet different people, I started making a lot of entrepreneur friends.
Yeah.
So I started indirectly helping them of like, let me see your landing page. Like, I can tighten it up for you. I can make that look a little better. I can, do
Yeah.
some better copy. I can make it, look a lot better. And then also it's like, hey, people started seeing my ads when I started to learn how to do ads. And they were like, who's the person that did your ads? Like, I love to hire them. I was like, it's me.
Yeah. Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was me. So that's when I started indirectly like helping other people. And then I came to a crossroads, was like, do you want to actually do this as a business? Do you want to start an agency? Or do you want to keep doing
Mm.
finance? Like, what do you want to do? And Lamar actually was one of the persons that said, you got to make a decision.
Mm.
You can't do both. You can't have two, 5-figure or 6-figure or whatever. Like, if you want to really get to that next level, you need to really focus, no fracture focus. You need to actually lock in and do it. So that's when I made the decision in 2019 to become the funnel doctor, start the agency. We've been growing ever since, but I knew nothing about starting the agency at the time. It was a learning curve, but it's one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah, and I've got to parenthetically insert this. Shout out to Lamar and Ronnie Tyler of Traffic Sales and Profit. He listen, unsolicited. If you haven't, go to trafficsalesandprofits.com right now. Make sure you look at an upcoming event. I promise you, you will not regret engaging. Join the Facebook group. I say this because there's not a lot of genuine, seasoned,
Yeah.
always growing, always expanding, always evolving entrepreneurs in the space that aren't money hungry, trying to
Right.
just get the bag run and hey, get it while I'm getting it because when
Right.
I'm
Right.
gone,
Right.
it's gone. Like
Right.
a true heart to help. So to hear, it's almost like I heard his voice when you said you got to make a decision
That
because
makes
we
it,
we all
yeah.
we all know that Lamar voice where it's like, look, what you gonna do? All
Well,
right,
they're
you keep
right.
saying this, but
Right.
so shout out there. And I mentioned it at the beginning of the podcast, man. Ryan, I make up so many frameworks and terms, and the idea is to make things tangible. If there's one thing that people have told me is just like, okay, I can understand it now. I'll use a loaf of bread or a car or something that people know to help break down these concepts. But when you told me you wanted to come on and talk about funnel stacking, I was like, whoa, that X out everything that I thought.
Let's talk
That's
about
it. Let's talk
that.
about that. So I'm gonna give you the floor, man. Just take us from the beginning and all the way through. What is funnel stacking? Why should we know about it? What does it do for us?
Yeah, thank you. And I'm so happy to share this, because I've been working with it closely for myself and other clients that we've been working with. So, funnel stacking basically is when you stack multiple funnels on top of each other on the front end.
Mm,
So, what happens is nowadays, when we're spending money on marketing, on paid advertising, it's very expensive. So specifically with Facebook, 2 years ago in 2021, there was a big thing in the marketplace where Apple released an iOS 14 update, and now anyone who had the Apple 14 iOS 14 update or beyond, now we're in like 18 or whatever we're at,
Mm-hmm.
now they had to agree to be tracked with ads. So what that did is it rose advertising costs. So now just to get in front of people is a lot more expensive. To get a lead is more expensive. To get an acquisition, to get someone to buy something, to get a click, like everything is a lot more expensive. So previously, you could use a funnel like a free plus shipping book funnel. You could use a lead gen funnel. You can use some type of loss leader where it's like you either break even or a lot of people got into the black in the front on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Now with advertising costs increase, now when we're spending money and trying to acquire a new customer or a new lead, most of the time we're not even breaking even. We're losing a lot of money. A lot of people are in the red. So now when you stack multiple funnels on top of each other, you can get into the black on the front end faster. But instead of doing it through one funnel, you do it through multiple funnels on the front end. So here's an example.
All right.
I have a front end funnel where it's a low price course. It's a $47 course. It's my sales funnel course. It's a lot of great information, but it's a DIY $47 course. So I was going back and looking at my numbers. So we spent over $50,000 in Facebook ads to get someone to buy this $47 digital course. Now, when I looked at my course sales, we only made about $25,000 in revenue. So you're like, okay, you spent $50K, you only made $25K back from this course. But what we did is on the thank you page, once someone bought that course, we put a link for them to schedule a call, a discovery call, for someone to get on the call and a sales call so we can sell them services. Now, out of everyone that came through that funnel and went to that thank you page and scheduled a call, we booked over $500K in services from them coming through that funnel. So that is an example of funnel stacking. So we put the lead, the tripwire funnel out there, the $47 funnel. We spent over $50K in ads to get people to it. We only made about $25,000 back on actual course sales. But when they came through, they scheduled a call with me or someone on the sales team, and we got over $500K in new projects or new business. So now that 50K, 10X, or a little more than 10X, because if you count the course sales as well. So that is an example of how we use funnel stacking profitably so you're able to spend money on the front end and get people on the back.
Man, I love it. And if it made sense right when you broke it down and you said scheduled the call, right? Because you understand that just because they didn't say no on the front does not mean they won't say no in the middle. I'm not even going to call it the back because the back is like fulfillment and all of that. Right in the middle, what's that offer? So to your words, to stack that funnel is really understanding that the first no is not the end of the game.
Exactly.
Right. So in that, what are some of the challenges? I know you mentioned you were looking at, your numbers and realizing like, man, I'm not even breaking even. Where did the concept come from for you? I know you're a student of the game, and I know you're in mentorship. You're still actively teaching, engaging. You've got clients with the agency. Was this a trend that you saw? Was it a strategy that you saw somewhere and said, hey, let me see if I can apply this and make this work? What was that initiator to you?
Initiator. So yeah, I did not create the term. I've heard it before, but I haven't really seen people activate it and talk about it. Because if you've never really heard of it, that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're like a real OG and like expert, like a big expert in this industry. So I first heard it and it, sparked my interest. And then what really was the pivotal shift for me was really understanding it's not just about making money on the front end. And that's where a lot of people just fall into trouble, especially those spending money on paid advertising. Is like, if I spend $100, if I don't get $200 or 150 or whatever, like it didn't work. It's a scam. Ads don't work. Funnels don't work. Digital marketing doesn't work. It's like, no, you really have to understand life cycle and just really how it works, especially, like I said, nowadays when it costs a lot more to acquire customers. So once I understood that like initial concept of like, whatever I'm spending on the front end, like I'm not even looking to necessarily make it right back. That's what initially intrigued me. And then I was like,
Mm,
well, if I put something in there, I may be able to actually make it right back. And of course, that 500K that we got in revenue wasn't instant, but it was over, I think, maybe over 9 months to a year or so of running the campaign, and like I said, just spending the money on ads and stuff. We seen that return. So for me, it was that, and then it was literally just implementing it because, to be honest, it wasn't a big shift. We just changed the thank you page and put a button for them to schedule a call. We didn't have to in this case, and you can do it, different ways of building different funnels and offers and stuff like that. But I didn't go out and like create something. I didn't go record a new course. I didn't do anything that was like, a lot of back end stuff that we had to do with my team or get other people involved. It literally was just tweaking the funnel and adding a button and another call to action because a lot of people think once they come through your funnel and they get whatever the initial thing was, it's over. The thank you page is one of the most underutilized pages of the
come
funnel.
on, talk about
And
it.
that's the page that most people see anyway. You know what I mean? It's like
Yep.
most people, get to the thank you page, whether they download something, whether they buy something, whatever it is. And most people just say, thank you for buying, thank you for subscribing, call it a day. There's always another call to action. So once I learned that, that's when it was like, oh, we got to implement it.
Yeah, I was on a recent training. I did a private Facebook training, and I mentioned that. I said, listen, in marketing, it's hard to get guarantees. In fact, there really are none
Earlier,
except
yeah.
one. I can guarantee you, once someone fills out a form, they're seeing what's ever next.
Right.
And if you waste that on thank you, we will be in touch, or your information has been received, shame on you as a marketer, as someone who's just a business owner and doesn't know better. Hey, no harm, no foul. But that page needs to be highly optimized. I wanna sprinkle some automation fairy dust on this too, and give people strategy that I live by, and all my students who are listening and mentees, they I think they know what I'm about to say, but I live by the thought that once I have your information, I should not ask for it again. Right?
Oh,
Once like, let's make it personal. Look how weird it would be, like after we've recorded, or let's just say when we linked up at the conference, and I was like, "What's your name again?"
right,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like,
Like, you playing or
right? Hey, if it's a virtual lead score that you had in your mind, like points are just getting deducted, right? So it's like, because Ron, I've met you. Matter of fact, I met you many times, and we done chopped it up at weddings, and like we
Really?
know. So to go in reverse is it throws off the experience. So when I talk to people, I said, listen, if they filled out form number one, you at minimum have their email address and you have their name, whatever information that is. So for those of you listening, here's some automation dust. Make sure whatever form software you click that button that adds those parameters to the URL.
Yes.
Make sure they're in the URL. And then the next step you'll want to do is couple that with the form software on your thank you page to pre-populate. Grab that information from the URL. And
Yeah.
Ryan, I'll be honest with you, I have not met an online scheduling platform that cannot do this.
Mm.
I have not. I mean, I know
Nuggets.
Calendly, Acuity, Book Me Now. I've seen all of them, and I'll hack the code and I'll do it for a person. I'll go into the
Mhm.
inspector and be like, "Hey, look, if you put this variable in your code, it will just put my name in there." Now, is that cool? Yeah, sure, it's cool. But listen, this is automation for a purpose. Watch this. If they filled out that first form from the ad, the last thing you want them to do is put in a different email address
Right.
on the
Right.
scheduler.
Oh, I hope y'all thought that. I hope
You
y'all
know,
thought that.
you get what I'm saying? Like, catch this. First off, I try to prime you all. You got some heavy hitters on this one, all right? So pick that up. If you dropped it, put it in the bag. If you missed it, rewind, okay? But what this does, especially if you're working with somebody like Ryan, who's savvy in ad spending, which we're going to talk about in a minute, who's savvy in ad spending, you want to make sure that in your CRM, you get the proper attribution from the front end all the way through. So I love hiding Maybe people get mad. Maybe they think of it as a convenience. But I love hiding the email address once I've captured it.
Yeah.
Because it's like I don't want to give you another opportunity to change it. One, be like, oh, let me use a different email address for the call.
Right. Right.
Nope. No, no,
Right.
no, no, no. We
Yeah,
in.
right. Oh,
This
that's
is who
another.
you said you
Right.
were. We're gonna run this. Now, when you become a customer, feel free to change whatever you want. I'm okay with that. But I need you to stay who you said you were
Mm,
throughout this customer journey.
mm.
So
That's no, that's nuts. And I'm thinking, you got me thinking, for real.
right, right. So again, everybody, Ryan started off by talking about getting stuff done, and we all start there, but we want to get it done for a purpose. Ryan, you've had success with ad spending, man. This has this continues to be so elusive for so many business owners. And I know the allure and aspirations. You look at Facebook and you're like, man, I've seen somebody else do it. Somebody's advertising to me. It's possible. If someone came to you and said, you know what, I want to be successful with Facebook ads, what are some of the things that you're looking at before you can even say, look, it'll work for you? Because it can't work for everybody. And there's a certain archetype, right? That's like, okay, you've got this, and that. Let's give it a go. Still
Yeah.
no
No
guarantees.
guarantee. Yeah. You're probable, your chances are fair, highly likely, as opposed to someone, it may not be a good fit yet.
Right, right. So what would you
So,
say? What do you look for?
I mean, the first thing is like proof of concept. Like,
Mm,
what do you sell? What do you do? What are you already doing? How much revenue? How many customers do you have? Like, are people already buying it? Because I always say this: no ad campaign, no funnel is a substitute for product market fit. You can have the greatest ad. You can get the best videographer in the world. You can shoot the best content. You can
yeah,
have the best landing
man.
page. You can have Chris
Mm,
set up the best
mm,
automation for you. But that is not a substitute for product market fit, something that people want to buy
man.
in the marketplace. So
Mm,
that's the first thing I always look for of like just where are you with that? Where are you with customers, like your list, like all that stuff. And then from there, another big thing now is just price point,
mm,
because people that sell higher price stuff, whether it's automation services, whether it's funnel services, whether it's masterminds, high ticket, whatever, we automatically have the advantage. No matter how good your product or service is or whatever, if you're selling a $50 product, I'm selling a $5,000 package, I immediately have the advantage because I can spend more, on the front end. Because if someone pays me 5K, that can bank more of my ad budget for the next 2 weeks, as opposed to you selling something for $50. You got to make a lot.
mm.
What I'm saying? You got to have that volume to be able to sustain your ad budget, not including your COGS and your cost of goods sold and all that type of stuff to fulfill whatever you're selling. So that's another big thing as we look at what you're selling, price point, average order value, and then of course ad spend.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's probably the number one question I get is how much should I spend? And I'm like, it depends. How much can you afford to spend?
Yeah.
What's the price of your product? What's your cost of goods sold? Looking at your numbers and what it costs to fulfill. And a lot of people think fulfillment is only with products. Oh well, I don't have a product. I don't have
Mm,
shipping involved. I don't have people to make it or go to China or whatever to actually fulfill something. So I don't really have costs of fulfillment. If you have a service, whatever you sell, there's a cost to fulfill it.
yep.
Even if you're a
Yep.
solopreneur, it's your time. Especially if you have a team and you're paying people to fulfill something or whatever. Like we always meet with our team and looking at our projects and like, what are our operating costs and like what does it cost to get a project done? And we always trying to look at that, tweak that, which clients, spend more hours than other ones and stuff like that. So there's always a cost to
That's
fulfill a
good, man.
service or product. So that's another thing we look. So those are some of the main things. There's other stuff like like your content strategy. Are you doing stuff organically? Are you just starting with ads now? Have you already been running ads for a while and they kind of haven't been doing as well? Or are you looking for a different agency? So there are a lot of different nuances to it, but I think those are some of the main ones.
Yeah, those are all good, and I think about it because sometimes the best thing you dropping nuggets too here. You said there is no advertise advertising cannot is not a replacement for poor product market fit. And
Yes.
can we be honest, everybody? Listen, remember, no shame for previous performance on this podcast, but it's a promise to do better. And that is this. Let's be honest. You don't know your product market fit.
Mm,
You don't know if your audience is truly looking and asking for what it is you have. You
mm.
want them to,
What, right.
and and you're trying to convince them to. But I always think of this, and this happened the other day, man. I was looking for something online. I can't remember what it was, Ryan, but it didn't matter to me how it got to me. I just needed an answer to this thing. Like I was looking for it and it was very hard. And I found myself on the other side, like, man, I wish they would advertise to me, right? Like
Right,
make the
right,
thing
right, right, right,
easy
right.
for me to find. And that's what it's just rampant just in the industry is that those who do have the tight product market fit are usually tight with their pockets.
Right,
And then the ones that don't have it are like,
right,
look, let's go. What we spending? How
right,
much? Okay, a 10,000 a day. Here you
right,
go. It is
right.
like top out. I would love to take your money, but you don't have product market fit, and it's so critical. Let me ask you this, man. I've been thinking about funnel stacking as you've been talking, and just how effective I've seen some people do it. Now that you've broken it down.
You know what it is, just the context.
Right, right. So, what industries would you say have the biggest results for you? Specific to you and what you've experienced with funnel stacking. Because the reason why I'm asking is because I can see it be of great value in my industry. Right, education,
Right,
consulting, program enrollments. You
right,
get what I'm
exactly.
saying? And I think of my clients, like some of the e-commerce clients I have and things of that nature. And the engineer in me wants to break something and say, okay, how far out does this thing extend before we start,
Yeah,
pulling it
yeah,
back?
yeah.
And I know you probably strategize differently if you go into different industries, but what have you seen for the most part? And let me say, put it this way, like some of the most low hanging fruit type implementations industries where you put the funnel stacking in place and it's like, wow, we got a call, Ryan. Oh my God, it's working.
Yeah, yeah. So we do have one that's kind of an outlier, which I'll talk about in a minute. But the
Okay.
main one is those infopreneurs, the coaches, the authors, the consultants, whether you're selling a book or doing some type of lead magnet. And then a lot of people just put a webinar on the back of it. So just a
Hmm.
webinar alone on your thank you page, whether it's automated or they go into a live training you're doing, like that alone is a great funnel stack that we've done tons of times. That
Mm,
was highly profitable. Because let's say they come through, get your lead magnet, get your free thing, or your book, or whatever your low hanging fruit is, or your tripwire, or your low price thing. If it's not free, generally it may be $7 or $17, $47, something like that. And then from there, a lot of people will enroll you right into my webinar where I can sell you high ticket, get you into my
yeah.
mastermind, get you into my coaching program, enrollment, or whatever the case may be. So that's one that we've seen tons of times. And a lot of people try to break those funnels up. And it's like, no, you can actually put those funnels together. Where it's like, yeah, they come through to get my lead, man, to get on my list. And then I do my webinar. I do a separate campaign for my
Yeah.
webinar. I get some new people or I get existing people on my list, but you can actually like stack those funnels together and have everybody come through that journey when they're first introduced with you and then get into the webinar and then you sell them that way. A lot of people actually automate that. So that's
Mm,
one that we've seen tons of times that we've done for, the infopreneurs, coaches, authors, consultants, and stuff like that. Another industry that we work with heavily now, we've seen a lot of results for is travel. So we work with
ooh.
a lot of travel agents, a lot of travel businesses that use this effectively as well. And our three main components that we work with travel agents are number one, list building. Generally, the more people on your list, the more revenue in your business. The second part is community building. With travel, and a lot of them target women, in their 40s, mid 40s, early 50s, where it's like, hey, you leave, your friends are playing, your sisters don't want to go, come, connect with us, join our community of traveling women that are just like you that want to see the world.
Wow.
So we have to build community, whether it's through the Facebook group, whether it's like a Mighty Network platform or something like that,
Hmm.
and then also get them bookings. It's like we want to get these trips sold out.
Yeah.
So we've definitely used funnel stacking on the lead gen on the front end. on the thank you page, just have them schedule a call where you can sell them a trip. Or we have a lot of our clients and agents and stuff like that actually doing like virtual events, creating experiences or webinars, which they call info sessions on a certain trip, and put that on the back end of the lead gen funnel. And it's been really, really profitable. We have a number of seven-figure travel businesses we're working with, a lot of multi-six-figure ones. And the funnel stacking concept has been great working with them.
Man, Ryan, you got, oh my goodness. Like you said travel, and immediately the segmentation just started oozing out. I'm like,
Right.
oh my gosh, you could do by destination travel, by destination want to travel, location you're at. Like if for instance, I'm from Minnesota. And right around November, December, well, February is really the worst month always, but right around that time, it's getting to the point where it's just like, you know what? Do I really want to deal with this for the next 6 months? Not 3 months, the next 6 months, all the way till June. You know,
Right.
if I were travel agent and I knew that about my person, right? That's prime time. Everybody in the cold state to talk about an exotic or a warm getaway. This is like a no-brainer. So when you said travel, and I've got many more actually just firing right now. I'm gonna write them down so I don't forget them because these are great segments, I believe. But it's another show of how complementary that advertising and then the marketing, the follow-up marketing really needs to be.
Exactly.
And if anything, Ryan, I'll say that's the mistake that I see a lot of people make is
Mm,
that if they do invest on the front end, they don't
yes.
take that same level of attention and investment right in the middle and in the actual follow-up marketing. And
That's
what I have played best friend to many advertisers, and it's because of one reason: attribution. So
mm,
let me. I'm gonna say this. Listen, Ryan doesn't know what I'm about to say, everybody, but watch him agree because any advertiser worth their weight is just like, thank you, Chris. Just please tell them to do this more. Go back, everyone, to what I said with the pre-filling the email address or first name because you've grabbed it. Also, please. Now, the thing is, this would never happen if you're working with somebody like Ryan. But if you're out here just DIYing it, do not, I repeat, do not have a link on social media that does not extract and put UTM parameters when
yes.
someone clicks
Yes.
the
Oh,
link.
yes.
Okay? Do
Yes.
not, don't do it because if you don't have it to where it's populating the source and the medium and content, all of those parameters, what we do as marketers on the back end is we put hidden fields that pull those values. Now, in the CRM software, you can see which ad generated which lead.
Exactly.
Watch what we can do. Now I can go and say, hey, Ryan, these are my buyers, and it looks like they all came from
Right.
this ad.
Exactly.
I'm just dream for me for a minute, Ryan. On the spot, if you had clients that were giving you that type of data, just tell me, does that make your job easier?
A lot. A lot easier. Absolutely. Yes. So yeah, that's something that we do. Like you said, if you DIYing it, we definitely recommend that. Because if you don't, you don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what's performing better or which not. And also even outside of just like paid ads, like if you're doing organic posts, if you're doing affiliate stuff and someone's sharing your stuff through different emails, like
Yes.
whatever it is, you want to really know like which is performing better, where's the data coming from. So those UTM parameters are definitely going to help, especially like I said, with all the uncertainty with ads as of late. You definitely want to do that.
Yeah, Ryan and I had a conversation before we recorded this, and we were just looking at a dashboard, and we were just kind of nerding out over it. And really, what came of it was how many professionals are flying blind. And I
Yeah.
say professionals not because I put air quotes, by the way, for everybody not watching the video, not because they're fake, but because a professional can't show up as such if they're not fully equipped.
Yeah.
You know, so being able to provide feedback to how something is performing is critical. And too oftentimes, Ryan, man, we have to do better in the marketing industry that we just settle for capturing the lead, but never giving feedback to the source of
Right.
where it came from so that we can figure out what works and do that better
Right.
and better, more and more. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah, I love that. Another thing too, with to piggyback on that, is tracking all the metrics throughout the funnel. Because we're telling everyone, all of our clients, looking at that, helping them with that, or if we just do the front end, like telling them, make sure you're doing the back end. Because a lot of people will be like, all right, well, I got a lead for $2, then I got a lead for $10. Well, I only want to get the $2 lead. The $10 one, oh, that's too high, cut the ads off or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you don't track the rest of the funnel, then you don't necessarily know. So let's use travel, for instance. Let's say you got a $2 lead and then they buy a trip for $2,000, but you get a $10 lead and they buy a trip for $10,000. Now, which lead's more valuable? I'll pay $10 all day if you're going to get a $10,000 package as opposed to the $2 lead that's getting the $2,000 package.
Yeah.
But if you don't track the rest of the metrics throughout the funnel and the lifetime value, you don't know. So, like I said, a lot of people would just be like, oh, well, I want the cheapest lead as possible. I don't want to pay over $6 a lead. If it
Yeah.
goes beyond that, I'm going to cut it off and stuff like that. But you're really doing yourself a disservice if you don't track the other metrics in the funnel and the lifetime value, the order value, not just the front end acquisition costs.
Man, Proposition Joe would say you thinking short when you should be thinking long.
Right.
You gotta play the long game. Hey, everybody, if you didn't realize it, did you see how fast Ryan spit those numbers out? You see how fast 10,000 to 5. Listen, this is this is something that I want to highlight because maybe I know they heard it on the front end that you have experience with finance, but perhaps they didn't make the connection. Your ads person, everyone, should not be afraid of numbers.
Facts. That's true.
Okay. I know this just is like, well, of course, you will be surprised at how many ads people love the creative side of it.
That's
You
true.
get what I'm saying? Like they just, they can do some numbers to make sure that what they created is seen, but they don't specialize in the numbers throughout the funnel.
Right.
They may be able to go into Facebook Manager and look at
Yeah.
some data, but everybody, again, worth their weight knows you better not just rely on Facebook.
Right.
You,
Oh, of course. You ain't better know. I done seen too many businesses do that and be vulnerable. I've even slipped into that trap of being too reliant on it. I've never ever put all of my eggs in one basket because I
yeah,
always, coming into the game, I understood traffic and a holistic strategy and like many different sources and affiliates and referrals, relationships, all that. But, when Facebook ads so good, it's easy to be like, listen, let me just dump all of my budget over
yes,
there because it's working well. But you definitely do not want to do that. And I love what you said about the content aspect of it because, as an ad agency and, funnel agency, we definitely do help with content creation and we have video editors and graphic designers and so forth. But I always make it clear to people we are not a design agency, we are not a content agency. We are a marketing agency. So we are designed, like you said, to look at the numbers, get you leads, get more revenue, look at the data, track all your numbers and your conversion rates and so forth. But we don't want to be like, oh, we specialize in design or we specialize in content creation. That stuff helps, but we are a marketing agency designed to drive more revenue into your business.
yeah, that's good. You always need to know where you begin and end. And I want to encourage somebody that's like, man, it just whenever people say what they can and can't do, it just one day I want to get there. It takes time. Ryan, how how many wrong clients did you say yes to until you could figure out like, hold on, no, we don't do this, this and that. This is our sweet spot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's incountable.
Yeah, it is a lot of them. Too many of them, but now it's really clear. Like, I can have a quick conversation with someone, and then almost immediately I can be like, oh, this is not going to be a good fit. Or based on a conversation, like, I'm already thinking of ideas that we can do and help this and plug this and stuff like that. But yeah, it definitely was a learning curve, and it went through a lot of, I won't say bad clients, but where it just wasn't a good fit for both of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you said, really getting to a point where you say no a lot more, where you can take on, people who are going to be a right fit. And it's really about driving results. I don't even want to
Yeah.
take a client if I know that we can't get you the results.
Yeah. It's the old adage in comparison to dating, man, and relationships, because these are relationships. They're
Yeah. Oh yeah.
professional relationships, and sometimes you just have to make it personal to people. And it's just like, look, if in the first 5 minutes you were talking to somebody, and you realize this joker ain't about nothing, right? Like I'm not gonna be able to do anything, and it's not like you're trying to manipulate, but it's like you might be trying to have fun, and
Yeah.
the
Right.
person you're talking to is just stale. Yeah, we could just chill at the hotel. I'll bring my Xbox. You like, we in Mexico. What? I was even thinking about. So I wouldn't even go on that trip, right? However, if I can see a future, if I can see a mutually beneficial future, and I want to say this, you say you could talk to somebody and within the first few minutes you know if you're going to be a good fit. Listen, everybody, this is where you want to be. Everything is not online. You're gonna be talking to somebody at a coffee shop. You'll be engaging with people at birthday parties. You need to know like those words, those trigger words. That's like you could be ear hustling a little bit. And in one conversation and hear a few words over here, like, yeah, I'm just trying to get my attribution and ad spend down. I've got a really high ticket offer. Yeah, Ryan, you're like,
Like, oh, my ears perking up, right?
right? You at your daughter's birthday, you're like, who is this talking like that?
Right.
But this is the responsible part about being a business owner and a marketer. I feel like I'm never not collecting data.
Yeah, always. Yeah, always.
Like every conversation. And then I'm thinking like, man, maybe if I could have said that better. Or I may say something and somebody's face shows an expression. And I'm like, oh, that was good language.
Right,
You
right,
know?
right, right.
So always doing it. I want to as we get to the end of this, you made mention. I know we've talked a lot about the front end funnel stacking and advertising. I know that's one of the core components of what you do, and especially in the travel industry, man. It's got so much potential just oozing out of
Oh
it,
yeah.
man.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, the marketer in me is going.
Right.
But you made mention of tracking the metrics throughout the funnel. I want to give you the floor to talk about some of your favorite software tools to build a funnel. Not the best, not the ones that you absolutely have to use, but just give people some insight on some of the tools that you're like, you know what? I'm not building a funnel without this. Cuz you're not just front end, Ryan.
Right.
Like you can go and build that whole marketing and sales funnel out. What are if you limit it to like the top 2 or 3 that you just really are liking right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a ClickFunnels person for a while now,
Yep.
and still, appreciate the software. I still personally use it, so that's usually my go-to. Now, Go
Yep.
High Level, they've been they've been getting ground on them,
Ooh, they
you
coming.
know, right? They coming, so that's like that's the one that like we're using. That's the one that we build a lot of stuff out, and it's really what I like about it is because it's really been hard to find an all-in-one platform that do most of the stuff well.
Yes.
And this is
Yes.
one probably the best one that I've seen that can get
I agree.
encompass your funnel, your automations, like your emails, SMS, your scheduling, social media. They have an AI component, of course, merchants and payments and all that stuff. Your website can connect with WordPress, of course, your funnels and all that type of stuff. And then look at your lead source and your conversions, like all that stuff. So I really like Go High Level right now. Of course, I've been using Active Campaign for a while. Keep Klaviyo for my e-commerce folks.
Yep.
Um, those are probably my favorite ones. That
Yep.
we've been.
Yep. What any sleepers out there like productivity, utility type that's you just like, man, this thing is small, but it just keep working. Anything out there?
I'm trying to think. Um, Not that many come to mind.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I can't, and I'll probably think of it once we go to the next question.
I
But
already
right,
know. I already
you
know.
know what I'm saying? Like right now, those are probably the main ones. I
Yeah.
mean, High Rules is a great for like your ads and can tracking your attribution and your conversions and aligning
Yep.
it with the funnel. So that's a big one that we've been using for a good amount of time now,
Yep.
which is good. And that really takes everything to the next level of connecting, like your ad, like you said, your attribution, looking at
Yes.
that with your funnel and your back and your lifetime value. And it also will make certain adjustments to your campaigns automatically.
Yeah.
Where something happens in the middle of the night and your sleep or like whatever. So that's another one that we use that we like as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna fire off a couple low tech ones for everybody, and a couple reasons why. No shocker, no shocker here, but one is Canva,
Oh
for the reason of layers.
yeah, oh yeah,
Do ever since they put layers in, I'm an old Photoshop guy too,
yeah,
but
okay,
though
yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've like had something in the background and just could not get to it. Then I had to move elements out the way to select it. And so just having layers. I haven't even played with like the AI stuff where you can replace images of like shirts and all that. I haven't done any of
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's one. And two, people listen. You're just gonna hear it. Airtable, man, and
It's oh yeah, yeah.
let me say why specifically to this podcast. There is a database that I use that all those UTM parameters that I told you about, everyone, it creates those links for me, and then with some additional automation magic, I have it sent out to, you name it, Rebrandly, Short.io, Bitly. It doesn't matter to me. Pick one. They all integrate, and it creates the short link for me, and then fills it back in to the record. So I never leave Airtable. I can put the link in, say my source is Facebook, put all the UTMs, click a button, it goes out, automation shortens the link and places it right in the field for
Mm,
me, and then I can just copy and paste it from there. So these are like, I say that, I know that I said that matter of factly, everyone, and I know you may need to rewind and be like, hold on, what is he doing? But you do it so frequently that it just becomes tongue in cheek or wrist and click. But I do want to highlight that because sometimes you don't have to have these big use cases, everybody,
sure.
for
That's
some
true.
of these tools. It'd be some small stuff. Sometimes it's like, man, that's
That's
really effective. So
absolutely, absolutely.
so Ryan, man, this is great. We have many conversations on off air. This is our first one on, and I could keep going. I could keep going. Listen, I should have hit record, everybody, before we officially started recording, because we dropped some gems just getting ready for this one. But I just have to envision somebody was listening to this and they were like, "Oh, that's how you do that." That I've seen people do that. I always wondered how scheduling an appointment worked, or how do you do the webinar on the back of something,
Right.
or they may be in the travel industry, just whatever, or they may just be looking for an agency to help them with their digital marketing, man.
Mhm.
That's really the most
Right.
common case, right?
Right.
So I want to give you an opportunity, man. You've given us so much value. If somebody wants to connect with you and reach out further and engage, where can they go?
Yes. So, of course, I'm all over social media. Our website is thefunneldocoragency.com. That's thefunneldocoragency.com. Of course, we're all over social media: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. So just type in Ryan McCrary or The Funnel Doctor. I should come up. Also, if you want to get a free copy of my ebook, go
Mm.
to www.thefunnelDoctorEbook.com. That's thefunnelDoctorEbook.com. There's tons of gems in there. It's also a lot of resources and templates and stuff that you can download as well. So make sure you check that out, www.thefunnelDoctorEbook.com. And my actual book will be coming very, very soon, The Prescription. So the Funnel Doctor, I'm giving
Ooh,
that we finalizing that right now.
I
Like
love
the
it.
manuscript is pretty much done, but we're going through, the whole launch strategy and everything like that. So you'll be notified very, very soon the official launch date. But the prescription is coming as well.
I love that name. Listen, you could a good marketer always appreciates another one. And if it's one thing marketers love, it's a good name, boy. I mean, the prescription without context means nothing. But from the funnel doctor, that's everything, man. So don't worry, everyone. We have all of the links in the show notes. You'll be able to go there right now, if you want to. And another point, you see all of those where the funnel doctor. You see the branding. You see the consistency. I'm just saying, Ryan. I just want to point these things out because I just find that I try to tap into beginner's brain as much as possible.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes things fly over people's head and they don't realize how valuable it is. But listen, man, I can't thank you enough for coming on to the podcast. This was everything that I anticipated it would be, man. So greatly appreciated on that one.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I love having this conversation, and we definitely got to do it again soon.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we may have to have you back for the prescription.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
we
yeah.
could
That's
break
coming.
down we can break down the content and what everybody gets. So everybody make sure you access the links that we have. Listeners, I can't thank you enough. You spend 45 minutes with me at least once a week if you're waiting for the new releases. For the rest of you, you've been binging. Continue, keep going. They just keep getting better and better because my guests, they're fire. I can't.
You trying
They're
to be,
good people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I listen to them while I'm recording and afterwards. But thank you for your listenership. I don't want to take it for granted that you have spent time out of your schedule to listen to this. So thank you very much. And to everybody from the bottom of all of our hearts to y'all, continue to automate responsibly, my friends.